Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Seth Estrada, and this is the Evening Mining Report for December 11th, 2019. Welcome back. Before we begin, let me give you a quick disclaimer. This is cryptocurrency. You could lose all or some of your money by being involved in cryptocurrency trading, speculating, and even mining. All right, with that said, let's jump into the actual numbers. What I wanted to start with tonight is a brief overview on CoinGecko.com. This is the coin ticker and coin news source that I prefer because of the number of API calls that are given freely by CoinGecko.com. Most of my calculations are pulled from CoinGecko data. So that's why I like them so much. What I have right now for our show is a little bit I have the beginnings of a favorites list that's going to list most of our proof of work coins. Now, some of these are ASIC mineable, some of them are GPU mineable, some of them are CPU mineable right now. And this is just a beginning list right now of only a few of the top coins. And you notice that the stacked ranking stays intact. So Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course, are numbers 1 and 2 respectively. Bitcoin Cash, number 5. The other Bitcoin fork, which I mean, realistically, did any of us think that it would be pushed this far? I don't think we really did. I think most of us believed it would be some kind of a sick joke, but here we are, and I have to list it there. It's number 9. It's a top 10 coin right now by volume and by market cap, of course. Monero's there, Ethereum Classic, and a lot of the usual suspect. There are many crypto notes that are not here on this list and that I'd like to, over time, add to the list so we can quickly just turn to just the proof of work and commonly mined coins. Now, there are many notable projects that are doing extremely well. Nick Saponaro, big shout out to you from the Divi project. We met up at WCC last year, and I was thoroughly impressed. He pitched with his team at WCC 2018, and since then, they've taken the crypto market by storm. That said, they're a proof of stake project. This channel dwells primarily on proof of work projects because it's where you and I can be directly involved in securing those networks and in being the brokers of trust. So that's what we're going to stay focused on with this listing right here. So in the future, expect to see this list grow and expect for me to take a look at some of the stacked rankings and remark on things such as, for example, Grin, briefly as I was putting this list together, being in the number 100 spot and then sliding back to number 101 and displacing Zcoin, which about this time last year was in the top 100, nearing spot 97 and making its way towards the top 50 spots. But at this point, being pushed back down the stacked rankings closer to Beam. Beam, again, in the top 400, not even necessarily closing in on the top 100. And look at it today, number 114. This is all just phenomenal. And then, of course, Loki Network got some love from me last night. And here they are in spot 161, where not too long ago, they were barely even on anybody's radar. So just phenomenal things coming out of a lot of these different teams. Looking really briefly at the price action of some of these projects, you can see that it's rare the project that's actually experiencing an uptrend in their 7-day trend or in their 1-day 24-hour change. One of them is Zcash, which, frankly, let's be realistic about Zcash. Zcash was pretty much nearing its bottom. So I'm not a technical analyst and I don't pretend to know exactly what's happening here, but they seem to really be hitting rock bottom for so long that it kind of made sense that there was some sort of reversal. So if you've been mining Zcash, good for you. Seriously, virtual high five if you've kept your Equihash ASICs turned towards Zcash. That said, you've got Zencash or Zen that has been a Horizon at this point that has been a phenomenal investment for people who are interested in masternodes, still returning on the order of 20+% for some of those secure nodes. And not the super nodes, but the secure nodes doing extremely well. And look at that, their price action is generally positive over the last 7 days as well. Not really sure what to attribute that to, but again, I'm not going to pretend to know. So just be aware, this is an element of the show that you're going to see in the future is a CoinGecko curated list of proof of work projects. Let's take a look at what to mine right now and check out our AMD numbers. we're always going to use, as a cost basis for our power, we're going to use 10 cents. Now, is that always realistic? No, it's not always realistic, but it is a good baseline because in some markets, you may be able to drive that price all the way down to 6 or 7 cents. It's going to be rare, the market where you can do that, but I do know personally of markets where that's possible. And then, of course, in other areas of the country, it's just not going to be feasible to mine at all because you're saddled with 20, 22, 25 cent power, the same as some Western European countries. It's terrible to live in states like California, for example, and attempt to mine locally. You really have to turn to colocation to get anything done. We're just going to use 10 cents as our baseline because I feel like starting at 15 cents, while it may be realistic for a lot of at-home miners, it just doesn't make, there's no business case for that. So with AMD, let's calculate fresh numbers right now and take a look to see, again, with unoptimized numbers across the board, just plain Jane configurations, what do we get? Looks like NiceHash still at the top of the stack here at what to mine, but I've got a little surprise for you tonight. Let's check out CryptoZone, and if you're not familiar with this mining calculator, it is an alternative to what to mine. The numbers are occasionally not, in my mind, not the most accurate, but there is a broader sampling of projects to look at. So for example, AMD graphics cards here, they only have some of the Polaris cards and then a couple of first gen Vega cards available for you to create a sample. We've also gone with 10 cent power, we've gone with a 1% pool fee, and we've moved the average from the default of 24 hours to 7 days. As you know, I prefer to do that on what to mine. You'll see the same right there for both difficulty for the revenue and the way that we sort profitability. I like doing 7 days because those averages give us a little bit more accurate picture for anybody who's mining professionally or interested in mining as a business. So let's calculate those numbers just one more time for the AMD graphics cards and then check to see what we get. Now, remember also that the number of units that we have here is only 5 versus, what is this? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards over on what to mine. So that's going to throw things off just a little bit more. No matter, we're still just looking for a general trend and an average here. Looks like we have Equihash on Votecoin really high on the list, which interestingly enough, unless Votecoin uses some sort of an Equihash variant, I don't know that I would want to put my GPU on that. Nilu also, look at that. Looks like net profit across those cards is pretty high. Looks almost unbelievably high to me. So again, take some of these numbers over on CryptoZone with a grain of salt. It's not that they aren't possible, it's just that sometimes they aren't realistic, or there could be some kind of a rounding error or some other math error. It can literally be an order of magnitude off, where possibly what this was supposed to show was that the net profit is, yeah, $21,000 for the day. I'm thinking that's not accurate. Let me zoom in just a little bit more so this is easier to read. But net profit of $21,000 a day across 5 GPUs. Tell you what, call my boss, tell him I'm quitting. I found this crypto thing. So don't know about that with Votecoin. We can maybe take a closer look at that in a minute. I think it bears taking a look. If you're new to crypto mining, for example, I can show you some of the process of quickly eliminating false positives. This is one of those situations where we might need to do that. Figure out, okay, is this worth pursuing? And I don't need to point a miner at it. I don't need to disrupt anything that's on my network. I just need to do a little bit of table napkin math and pay attention to some of the fundamentals of this project to see whether or not that's legit. All right, so Nilu in that second spot right there, $37 a day. You know, who am I to say no to that? That's within the realm, in my mind, of what's possible with a freshly launched coin. For example, I'm saying Loki when it was young and when people just didn't know about it. Same with Haven. When those projects were young and very few people knew about them in 2018, there were some days where it was very easy to turn a $40, $50, or $60 profit off of a single rig, depending on how high you had built it up. So new coin launches do offer that kind of price and performance on a day zero mining. Generally speaking, after the cat's out of the bag and the net hash of those coins goes up, it's not quite the same opportunity. So right here, for example, on Nilu, 1 gigahash. That's pretty much going to be one rig. Now, I've had in just here in the basement, I've had a gigahash going on Ethereum or on Dagger Hashimoto, so not too difficult to do. Same here with Equihash on Votecoin. 10 hashes per second. Something's just not right there. Something's just not quite right. Alloy, of course, going with Kryptonite Heavy, going to be a little bit different, but it appears to be running at a bear profit. That's pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool indeed. However, I'd want to inspect that just to be absolutely sure that my AMD cards are actually running at a profit for that. So this is why it helps to have multiple data sources. So you see the top lists right there, Hush, Zellcash, which again, bravo team at Zellcash for having such a great project going. But it looks like this is showing a profit where what to mine on AMD cards, if I scroll down the list and I look for Zellcash, I'm not seeing profit at all. In fact, I'm in the hole by $1.47 over here. So why the discrepancy? Again, sometimes it has to do with late network info that is that's gleaned by the CryptoZone team or by other mining calculator teams. Now, CryptoZone, I like using them. To be clear, I like using them. I find that over the long haul, that What to Mine's numbers, even though they're limited in the number of projects that they track, tends to be more accurate most of the time. So, again, take this with a heavy dose of salt. Going all the way down the list, it shows even Calypso shows a tiny bit of profit or Callisto shows a tiny bit of profit for the day. I just don't know that I believe that. I don't think that that's necessarily true. But crowd favorites and great community projects like Snowgen and like Bitcoin Z, clearly they're showing some amount of profit for the day, which is awesome for members of those teams because it means you can contribute to those projects and not break the bank, if indeed that profit is actually there. So Bitcoin Gold, Litecoin, see, every fork of Litecoin just makes me laugh. It's funny, but there it is. Shows it moving up the list there. Bit2, which I'm very partial to, great platform they're working on. It all looks like it's profitable, we think. Let's go back over to What to Mine and let's flip over to the NVIDIA side and use the data set that we set up last night. Again, 7 days, 7 days, any volume, we don't care because you may only be mining with a couple of GPUs that are lying around or maybe just one rig. Not optimized numbers, and we're going to hit calculate to get the freshest calculation on this. Looks like the lineup is largely unchanged. We've got Grin, Zcoin, and then Bitcash in the top 3 spots there. Kind of cool to have nice hash dropping out of the top 3 spots, and I sincerely hope that if you paid attention to last night's video that you've stopped giving them your hash rate. You don't have to do that. If you really wanted to flip some of these coins on exchange, you could do that on some other exchange. I mean, shoot, support the exchange of your choice and transfer some of your daily mining profits into those exchanges. And then you don't necessarily have to be some really savvy shark-like trader to be able to flip those profits into Bitcoin or into Ethereum, whatever you choose, and then start using those a different way. Shoot, perhaps you even want to use some kind of a Bitcoin or Ethereum payment solution like BitPay and use a card to be able to pay for some of your costs that way, so that you keep things in the native currency for as long as possible without using an off-ramp into fiat until you absolutely have to. I don't know. There are a lot of ways to do that. You let me know down in the comments as I go through more of tonight's content. What do you do when you're mining and you've got profits coming in and maybe you need to liquidate some to cover the costs of running your mine? What do you do? Do you use Coinbase? Tell me down in the comments. Let me know what works best for you and give us some idea of kind of the scale of operation you're working with, because this is one of those industries where there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution, I don't think. All right, so that's the top 7 right there. There are a few nice hash entries, which is kind of a bummer. Ravencoin, great to see Ravencoin trending at a profitable level right there. And then Rio, nice, as well as Swap and some others. So it looks like NVIDIA is still perfectly profitable to mine on with a lot of projects to choose from. Even if you really felt like it, you could mine Bitcoin Gold at a bear profit right there. But that is kind of the end of the stack at that point. Let's look over at CryptoZone for NVIDIA cards. And again, I've got one for each, all the way down to 3 gig cards like the GTX 1060. All the way up on this data set, we've got the Titan XP and the Titan V. That's where CryptoZone adds a little bit of performance data for those cards for workstation and server use. Also gone to the 7-day average and 10-cent power. So calculate to get our most recent numbers. There we go. And scrolling down the list, looks like Votecoin is just kicking butt and taking names. I mean, who'd have thunk? $56,000. Just go ahead and get all these NVIDIA cards, and we will retire by the weekend. I mean, it'd be a great plan, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be a great plan? Get 10, 15 of each, and then we go and we retire rich. Did I already run this thing yet? Okay, just wanted to make sure I'd run that already, because not advice. But Votecoin is turning up like a bad penny here, right? So I don't know what's going on, but it's at the top of the list. Nilu also at the top of the list because, frankly, Dagger Hashimoto is a really easy algorithm for most GPUs to leverage. So if those numbers are in fact valid, it got 1 gigahash. These guys are I'm gonna publish this tonight, and they're gonna get hash rate nuked by the community. Be like, oh my gosh, what happened? We got like they're gonna 20x their net hash in one evening because we've got all of our GPUs lying around not doing much, and go destroy Nilu. That's not what I'm advocating here, guys. I don't know much about this project yet, so we might actually go out of our way to take a look at them before this is over. Hush is there as well. Alloy Genesis a little bit higher because you got Equihash 1927. So with Team Green GPUs, Equihash and variants of Equihash tend to do very well, like Equihash 1927 and Zhash. So it's not a surprise to see them there. Grin, Kukuru, also quite good. Look at that. We're getting a little bit. Okay. That little red flag where it says that some of the network data may be outdated. This is what I was talking about before, where CryptoZone, at least they tell you that it's been a little bit of time since they got updated network data from some of these coins. That said, here on Genesis, it's not outdated. There is still a profit there. So be aware of that when using this tool in particular, the CryptoZone calculator. But you see all the way down, hey, Espers. There you go. It's been on my radar for a while, but we don't have any data at all on Espers. Bummer. Ether 1, barely making any profit there, but there's some, about the same as BitTube when you're on Team Green cards. And that's funny that Zcoin, they're not showing much profit at all with Zcoin. Yet on What to Mine, that's in the top 3, showing well over $1 in profit for the day with a smaller data sample. Strange indeed. Again, this is why you need more data, right? More data sets you free because then the interpretation can be more informed. All right, let's take a look at some CPU info. Oh, we'll save this guy for later. A bit of dessert looking at a coin. But let's take a look at some CPUs. Specifically, I want to take a look at, well, this is kind of cool with CryptoZone. I want to take a look at some AMD CPUs, Threadripper, all the way down to a couple of Ryzen cards here, Ryzen CPUs here. Also using the 7-day average and 10-cent power. Recalculate here, and while it's thinking about it, I'm going to do the same over on What to Mine. Pop in over to the CPU area, and I'm just going to stick with random X. Maybe I'd have to get some CN heavy, some other Kryptonite numbers here. Gosh darn it. Okay. Maybe we'll come back to that, and I should build up the data set for CPUs to reflect everything that's possible on a Threadripper. But for right now, with all those numbers, Electroneum, you could be earning over $100,000 per day on Electroneum. Again, quit your job. Let's just go fishing every day and let your work computer do Electroneum. In fact, set up a script on your boss's work computer too, and then just point that at my wallet. We'll go fishing every day, and we'll just retire on our Electroneum savings. Good? Okay. All right. Hit me up in the comments. So DM's open if you want to make me Electroneum rich. This is obviously off. Even though the network info is not outdated, it says something's not quite right. So, yeah, it's crazy. Kryptonite V7, something's off. Clearly, it is some kind of decimal place error. That could maybe mean like 12 cents for the day on all those GPUs, because I'm just not buying that. Looking down at Alloy, though, that doesn't seem right either. For Kryptonite Heavy, doesn't seem right to be doing $4 a day across all these CPUs. That said, it's a couple of Threadripper models and then 3 Ryzen models. Still doesn't seem right, though. I think max, we're going to be looking at maybe $1 a day in profit on a reasonably performant Threadripper, depending on what the algorithm is and depending on the coin and the supply. That said, Kryptonite Heavy, Kryptonite V7, and Kryptonite Saber, which you'd have on BitTube, these are all very much geared towards GPUs. And GPUs have outperformed CPUs on these algorithms for some time now. So I don't know if any of this is accurate. Doesn't seem accurate to me. But let's copy some of these figures here from Kryptonite Heavy. Actually, yeah, only 3.5 kilohash does seem like it could be possible across all those, all those CPUs there. So we're going to go ahead and just copy this straight across the board. So let's grab our, the wattage there. Grab Kryptonite Fast. Maybe. Yeah, it seems like it's almost possible as well. CN Fast. Also 485 watts. Looks like we're going to get 485 watts across the board. So go ahead and just put that into all of the Kryptonite boxes there. But let's get our CN GPU and then Kryptonite R, which I think probably our best number for that is going to, oh, interesting. Huh. Kryptonite V7 and Kryptonite both say 4211. I'm going to just drop that into, I think, the two remaining for Kryptonite R, probably, and then Kryptonite CPU, I'm just going to do the same, or GPU going to do the same. And let's see if we can get this party started. I like to party. Okay, here we go. Now we've actually got some results returned. And this is kind of more in line with what I would expect. This is kind of what I was talking about before. You remember when I said that I primarily use what to mine? And this is why. Even though there are fewer coins that I can look at all in a stacked view like this, stacked ranking like this, generally speaking, the coins that are returned tend to give me accurate data. I would expect to see that RandomX and Monero top the list on a CPU today. On something like Kryptonite GPU for Rio, let's take a look, or Rio. Let's see if that even makes the list here. Looks like it doesn't. So to their credit, CryptoZone does not list Rio coin or Rio coin. So it's not there, but I'm a little bit concerned about it showing Alloy and BitTube. These are not algorithms that that are going to work. Right? So right here, BitTube right there, Kryptonite Saber, you're looking at negative profit on CPU. And that's me taking the combined numbers, and that's with RandomX across just one CPU versus that combined score of 5 CPUs over on CryptoZone. It should be kind of like this. You should definitely be seeing more profit on RandomX today, I think. So there you have it. Don't know what to make of that, but we've got the AMD. Let's go over to the Intel side. Kind of cool that it shows some of those numbers. But you got, here's a spoiler right now. The Kryptonite figures at this point are going to be considerably lower on the Intel cards. With the Intel cards, calculating for the latest info, looks like Actinium, all of a sudden, Lyra 2Z is really, and again, this is even better. This just gets better and better, guys. Seriously, again, tell me when you have been able to carve out some time at work. You know, if you're a system admin, if you're a network admin, and you're able to redirect all of your work computers or the local server cluster, you're able to turn it towards Actinium. I can provide a wallet address for you, and we can retire in like 1 hour, because $25 million an hour on Actinium. And the net hash is 0 hashes per second. So, we're going to be the kings of this new coin. At any rate, I hope that kind of illustrates very clearly about how the dangers of just using one source of info. Use multiple sources of info if you can. That's what we're mining tonight. That's what makes sense tonight. Guys, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Thank you so much for clicking the bell icon and the subscribe button so you're notified when new videos like this come out. Thank you so much for checking out mineyour.biz and seeing what we have there on the blog and the merch store. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face, and I will see you in the next one.
Be